What's up, guys? It's Lord Botha here with another video, and you may remember in 2019, 2018, there were a series of RPGs, Western RPGs that is, that were released that were kind of homages to the past. They were homages to games like KOTOR, the original Mass Effect, and etc. They were very story-based driven RPGs. These would be Kingdom Come Deliverance, The Outer Worlds from Obsidian, which is, by the way, the same guys who developed KOTOR, right? And Greedfall from Spiders. Now, the first game, Kingdom Come Deliverance, was made by about 10 guys in their basement. They ended up selling the company to a larger subsidiary, and now they're coming out with their second game in February of 2025, and it's highly anticipated and looks pretty good if you've looked at the trailers. And it was probably the most successful of all three of those games in terms of the profit to cost ratio. Now, the second one, Outer Worlds, did very well, mostly because it was branded as an Obsidian game. Obsidian hadn't put out a game in years, and people were highly anticipating the new release from Obsidian. And when they played it, I think I, along with a lot of people, had the same reaction. We were kinda underwhelmed. But we still liked the game, or at least said we liked it, because it was a new release from Obsidian, and we were interested in what more they could do. Also, the game turned out to be incredibly woke. So it's no shock that their next game, Avowed, which a lot of people have been lampooning, also looks to be incredibly woke and agenda-driven, and not actually focused on pleasing gamers, customers. Finally, the third game, Greedfall, also fits into this category, but it was a new IP from a new gaming company, something we hadn't seen before, and everything seemed a bit off, but it definitely gave you that feeling of, wow, I can't wait to see what these guys come up with in the sequel, because I bet the sequel is going to be great. In fact, all these games could probably be described as, man, I can't wait to see what these guys do in the sequels. They gave you strong Mass Effect 1 feelings in that way that, this is good, but I bet in the sequel they're going to make something that's, going to last for decades. Because Mass Effect 2, to this day, me specifically, I think is one of the greatest games ever made. But as I already stated, there's a lot of people already making fun of Obsidian and their doomed failure to come out, Avowed. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 looks like it's going to do gangbusters in February, probably destroying any hope of Assassin's Creed Shadows doing well that time. And Greedfall 2, well, Greedfall 2 is an interesting case, because Greedfall 2, The Dying World, has actually already released. That is to say, it's out on early access. It actually released in early access in September. The real question is here, though, did anyone notice? Because people I know that cover the industry, they had actually forgotten that the game came out, or was even slated to come out. I didn't even know that this was coming out. I was reminded by somebody else who was more in tune with it, who, to be honest, I think had also forgotten that this thing was out. But Greedfall 2, The Dying World, is out on early access, and well, it's not looking good. First off, there's the Steam charts, and as you can see, yeah, those are not good numbers. This had an all-time peak of 375, 24 peak of 11 players, and people playing right now, 7 single digits. Now, yeah, the early access has been out since September, but my God, that is a horrible place to start and a horrible place to be in right now. Nothing about this is good. This is like candidate for flop of the year when you think about the money and time and expectations put on this game. For comparisons, look right here. This is the original Greedfall. A peak of 16,345 players. So, a little less than 16,000 players more than the sequel. 188 players playing right now. That's 181 players more right now than the people playing the sequel. And you can see the percentage here, 56%, 197 ups to 144 downs. You go to the store page here and you see 285 reviews. And it has a mixed review label. That means of its peak, and I know this isn't exact for one because, you know, there's difference between peak and those who have played versus not played it at different times, etc., etc. But it's just funny that of its peak numbers, 300 and like I think 75, something like that, 285, so about 90 less than its peak, have reviewed the game, and it's, you know, mixed. That's not a good sign. And this is a paid early access too, by the way, $40. The full game is probably going to be like $60, $70. Needless to say, this is going to be an on-sale game as soon as it comes out. And most of the reviews, if you go look at them, it's all basically like, the game runs like shit. They completely changed the combat system, which that, by the way, was one of the complaints people gave about the trailer, was the game looked and seemed like it felt completely different than what they were used to. It was more the combat system like an action RPG, and they changed it to a strategic RPG, almost kind of like the inverse of what Dragon Age 2 and Dragon Age Origins were, where Dragon Age Origins was a strategic RPG, and they changed to an action RPG in Dragon Age 2. This they're kind of doing the reverse of. They don't have, you know, the radical art change style as, you know, Origins to Dragon Age 2. But still, any kind of massive radical change, you're going to get a lot of backlash from players who like the original. It's a sad day because, you know, Greedfall was one of those games where I just kept waiting for the game to get good. Some of the twists in the storylines were blatantly obvious. And the combat was, you know, it was alright, but it was frustrating at times. But the fans of this game, they really stood by it. They really were anticipating a second game. And it looks like that second game isn't going to hit any of the marks they wanted. And it's clear from the reaction and the player count, nobody really wants this now. In fact, I would also say that the marketing is probably a big problem. I haven't heard anything about this game. I didn't even know it was releasing. I already told you, everybody seems to be learning secondhand that this game is out. Months after the early access has restarted. Months after the early access has even started. So yeah, it's going to be difficult for them to find a way to succeed with this thing now. I really don't think they are. One thing's for sure, we can probably guess which company is going to be the next one to announce a round of layoffs. But those are just my thoughts on all this. If you have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you like this video, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like this video, appreciate you watching all of it, and I'll talk to you again later.